Welcome to an episode of Inside the Vendor Network. Today, I've got an OG in the house. I'm serious that this is going to be a fun one because there's a handful of vendors out there, or people, okay? Because you're not just a vendor, you're a person. And that's what this show is all about. So SFR BTR is not always black and white. I want to bring the color, and you definitely are bringing the color today. You always have. But for me, you're an OG in the space. And what I mean by that is, a decade ago, we were in this space. So recently, we were at the North Carolina Rental Home Council inaugural conference, right? So for my audience that doesn't know who this guy is, let me introduce him. Evan Howard, Strategic Accounts at Second Nature. This is a leading brand in the SFR community. At Second Nature, Evan spearheads go-to market strategy, helping align sales, product, engineering, and customer success to deliver fully managed resident benefit packages. We're going to get more into, for those of you who are like, what is that? We're going to get into that today. We're going to talk about what a resident benefit package is. But they create a triple win experience for the residents. And I don't know if you know this, but the triple win was part of our language app preferred to getting started. So we'll talk a little more about triple win and what that means to you and what that means to me. Creating experiences for residents, owner operators, and their own internal stakeholders. So welcome to Inside the Vendor Network, wearing the iconic purple jacket that's become a symbol of quality and standards being set in this industry. So welcome to the show, Evan. I'm so glad to have you. You're an OG. What do you feel like that means when I say that?
It's funny because I still kind of think of like being early on in the industry. I was having a conversation with someone that started back in the Waypoint Colony Homes days, which was like 2010. I still kind of think of it as being like new kid on the block compared to some of those folks. But it is fun to see the industry grow. Organizations like NRHC, NARCLOM, IMN have been doing a really good job carrying the banner, and we love being a part of it, getting to run around with purple jackets and sharing the industry.
Funny story, right? So Dana Ray used to work with Preferred Floor and Tile Company, and he came back to the office one day. We had just started scratching the surface in SFR, and he was like, "You gotta pull up this company's website." He's like, "Go to Arena." It's like secondnature.com, or I don't even know if that was your website. It might even been a different domain. And he goes, "Do you know what they're doing?" And I was like, "No, tell me. You seem really excited about this." It's like there is a company that actually is going to streamline filter delivery services to residents so they don't have to deal with it. And I was like, "Can I subscribe?" I was like, I hate dealing with changing out my filter services. And in that moment, though, what Daniel was really saying is like, we need to rethink this whole strategy. Like, I mean, he wasn't like, "Hey, let's scrap flooring," but he was like, they're thinking about what are the owner operators going to need. And so you guys have gone out there and developed resident experience packages. So talk to me a little bit about the array of services that Second Nature offers.
Yeah.
Check the boxes.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we basically use, we help owners and operators orchestrate a resident experience platform for their rental properties by delivering services that make the rental experience more convenient. So, the outcome we want to generate is make resident living so easy they never want to leave. They always want to stay and pay on time. They make properties worth more and last longer and make life easier for the operator. So narrowing the education expectation from well-managed property to just fully done for you. So some of the things, like mentioned, we used to be filter easy. That's probably the...
Is the deal. I mean, he literally came in like, "Oh my gosh, you had to pull up this website."
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Just changing the HVAC filter as easy as opening the front door. And other products like, group rate internet, renters insurance liability and contents coverage, credit reporting, rent rewards are all kind of some of the fulfillment pieces that go into the full resident experience platform. But the way we think about it is really delivering a customized, transparent, accountable leasing experience to the resident, so they really know what to expect in their leasing experience.
Yeah.
And they know how they can be a great resident, what they'll be incentivized to do, and what outcomes their property manager, investor, resident are all looking to achieve.
You are a 6-time President Club winner, 2023 President Award honoree, and a 2024 Sales MVP with early roots in leadership at Vector Marketing and Cutco. So you're a serious record slayer, right? Like you crush revenue targets. You do it with a product that I've watched you across the internet and your voice across LinkedIn and some of the, questions that you ask your own audience that you have across the internet. What has got you this track record? I know your products are amazing. The brand that you represent is an OG and it represents quality in this space. But what's really behind the scenes for Evan Howard to do crushing numbers like this and set records?
It's sometimes I just like not giving up and not quitting and just being around still at the end. That was always the joke at Cutco back in the day. And we've got quite a lineage of Cutco folks at Second Nature, but that was always the joke is if you stick around long enough and you just don't leave, then you probably end up doing pretty well.
Well, Lonnie with Blue Chip is fucking Cutco. I just started learning this.
Matt King, one of the other co-founders of Blue Chip. Jonathan Whitman, you was at Stellar, which is a company in the space, and Dustin Marks. All those guys are big time Cutco.
Like successful.
Yeah.
They were just outliers. They're like call it
Yeah.
There's a
They were
mindset.
in folded divisions. They were running,
Like they've
thousands of students. Yeah.
you have to students. All right. So I'm learning the language on the cup on what like that.
In most cases, along the sales reps are college students, which that vernacular comes from.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So I started when I was a sophomore in college and then continued on through 5 years afterwards. Yeah.
So when I was 18, I went and sold Avon, right? I was a self-starter, always had a very entrepreneurial spirit. I loved going and knocking on doors and stuff like that. One thing I learned in that environment was mindset. I was around other people that were growth-minded, and I learned a lot of foundational things, even just selling Avon, that when I was 18 years old, because you had to be 18 to sell Avon, and I couldn't wait to become 18 because I wanted to sell Avon.
Yeah.
So talk to me about mindset, right? These people that you just referred to in Cutco that had teams of students, there's a mindset that goes with that. And I feel like you probably carried some of that into this world, into SFR, VTR, and now you're sharing some of that mindset with your existing team and peers and coworkers at Second Nature.
Yeah, what I think that Cutco and the culture there did a really good job of was expressing ongoing education and curiosity. Andrew Smallwood, who hired me back in the day there and brought me over to Second Nature, he's now our chief strategy officer. Andrew used to have a saying, he said, every time you see me, you're going to see a better version of me. And
I love that.
I think that we really just learned to kind of constantly be iterating. And I think when you come to property management, not knowing anything about it, it's important to really kind of start understanding the customer base and understanding the pain points and the problems that you're hoping to solve. And I think that's how, just being really curious and refusing to accept kind of topical answers for the status quo, if you will. There are certain problems that really you just can't stop until you find the answer. And
Well, you guys were innovators, so you're bringing in a service I could imagine being on the other side of the table, being a property manager and be like, you're going to sell air filters to our what are you talking about? Come to your needle.
There's a funny story. When I was interviewing, Andrew and I were in a booth, actually. We were still running a Cutco booth at a Costco for Christmas. He said, hey, I'm going to go to this filter company. And I said, man, that sounds like the only thing more boring than kitchen cutlery. So I always made that joke. And the actual way that kind of all of our products have started is through that triple win lens that you mentioned. And again, we want to put everything within the resident experience platform through that lens. So It's good for the resident. It helps them have a better living experience, and it makes it convenient for them to do things that they're supposed to do in the home. It's good for the operator, so it reduces admin and prevents negative resident experiences, which is good for the asset owner because it typically extends the life of the asset and increases NOI without increasing operational costs. So that's the kind of funnel that we send every product through. And filters were just kind of the first easy one.
They're brilliant.
And it kind of struck a chord with some pain points. Some of our first early customers, had dozens of thousands of units. And it's just we believe big doors swing on small hinges. You can make very small behavior changes in the resident life cycle that create very big operational impacts downstream. So, reducing 40% of HVAC maintenance related work orders may not seem that big on the top, but the thousands of phone calls that saves a property manager on the back end, it's how property management, Def 5000 cuts. Like, where can we also make things happen that improve that property manager's life and tangentially are also improving the resident's life? So
Yeah.
what can make whatever makes the resident's life easier, give less reason
everyone else's life.
Correct, exactly.
Kind of silly.
Yeah.
Same in flooring, right? When I was at for flooring tiles, it was the same thing. It's like, how would we take flooring and make it fun? Because it's not fun. It's flooring. And it's something we all take for granted, right? We've been walking around all day long on a floor that's installed well.
Right.
Everywhere I go, I look at a floor, but no one else looks at a floor.
There's a conversation a couple of people have been having that I've been bouncing ideas off of. Just really fast, responsive communication is now table stakes. And so everyone expects quick communication, things being fixed properly. And so that's kind of like the baseline. But that doesn't mean that a great resident experience is like bells and whistles or, a super cool gym or, amenitizing the heck out of something. Like a really great magical resident experience is being wowed with the outcome of the smoothness of the communication or the ease and convenience of interaction. Maybe even the removal of something that you don't notice is gone. When Amazon made it easy for us to order anything in the world in 2 days, we didn't really notice, but we now expect nothing less. It's like in our life, we need everything in a day or two because we can order anything in a day or two. So anything less than that is frustrating.
Yeah.
So how can we make every resident experience essentially like that simple, easy, vegan?
This entire podcast setup, right? I ordered it online and had it all within 48 hours. I mean, you literally, I expected that. I had gone into Best Buy first, and they're like, well, we don't have this part, we don't have that part. And I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah, what am I doing? So I was just, that's a perfect example. Like, I don't want to wait for a lot of things. So what lessons from the early days still shape how you approach things today?
Kind of just owning mistakes and being really quick to course correct, just fail fast and hard. Kind of like a football analogy, but I've always found that if I can be someone that is always giving my best effort to bring a solution to my partner or my clients, then that creates loyalty, trust, and appreciation. And things are going to go wrong, but if we can totally own it and make sure that people understand we are, our incentives are aligned, yes. And if I show that I care and I actually mean it, then people will care back. And I think relationships are a big part of the business. But yeah, that's just, I think, my kind of
consistency too, right? Because I think part of caring is not saying that you care or maybe showing up once that you care. You have long-term relationships that you've had the opportunity to fail over the years. And I bet if we look back at some of our strongest relationships, it's the ones where maybe we even failed the most, but we owned it, we overcame, and we kept it moving, right? So I also believe in taking ownership when we mess up. The faster someone's willing to take responsibility, the faster we can get to the solution, right? I believe that. Otherwise, you get caught up in the weeds of fair playing or try to figure out, does it really matter how we got here? We're here. But I'm also a serial problem solver. So a lot of times my empathy level can sometimes be like, okay, yep, got it. What do we need to do? And I go quick to solve it. I think there's a balance that I've learned over my career where you got to also slow down and acknowledge with some empathy before you're right to solve it, right? Like, hey, let me make sure I understand where I'm messed up, right? And then exploring a little bit further. I think that's where the relationships get built. So second nature is known for these purple jackets. Will you tell me the story? Like, how did it happen?
That went through kind of a incubator type class when he started the business when he was at college. His co-founder, Kevin, they started when they were 19 or 20 in sophomore year at NC State. And it started out as Filter Easy. And one of the other founders in this incubator type program was a company that makes custom business suits. And the guy approached that said, hey, we're trying this new kind of vertical out. Would you can I make you some suits? And An Elephant Never Forgets, Effie, was our first brand.
Oh, well.
And so Elephant never forgets to change their filters. So we had bright blue elephant suits with elephants printed all over it up until probably something like 2016. So we started looking at expanding to the full resident experience solution. We wanted to kind of slightly make it a little bit more robust and also make it so you could kind of not wear an elephant suit at a conference. But we still want.
Is there an elephant in the edge that always hardest? Okay.
So Purple Heart is kind of the great pie core value that we have. And it's just, hey, it's not a zero-sum game in property management. Everybody can win and we can keep working together to grow further and improve. But we wanted to pick a color that wasn't the same old blue blazer that everybody has, but also stick out and be kind of slightly, it was tangentially professional.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. For me, it's become synonymous with friendly, approachable, quality. They've been in the industry for a long time. That's what it means for me. When I see a purple jacket in the room, I can look through a crowd and be like, oh, second nature's here. Cool, right? Like I know you're represented. And there's not many crowds actually that I go into that I don't see a purple jacket. And I think it demonstrates consistency. If I went to an event and I wanted a purple jacket, I would notice that too, right? So it's so powerful. I love that. So Preferred Floor and Tile and Second Nature, we were two of the handful of companies who launched the first ever local chapter here in North Carolina. That was so cool. I don't think I realized what we were a part of when it was happening. Did you?
It doesn't seem that way.
Right. It just didn't. Like now when we had the first inaugural conference here in North Carolina, I was like, oh, wow. For the state of North Carolina, that's our second first, right? If we take a look back and say, what happened? What happened since we launched that first chapter here in North Carolina? We got Phoenix, we got Atlanta, we've got Arizona, we've got Georgia, we've got Florida, we've got Dallas. So I love that North Carolina, where we live, and we launched something here, and I'm so grateful that Preferred Floor and Tile was able to be a part of that. And Second Nature, that's where I kind of look back and I was looking at who do I want to interview? And I was like, man, they were part of this story. And one of the things that Everizzi Media and what I also want to do on my podcast here with Inside the Vendor Network is storytelling. And I think there's so many stories in our industry, like a couple that you've shared, that people just don't know. And so as we talk about some of the stories of the past, what is your view on the future? Like where do you feel like this industry is headed as it relates to the products and services that you offer, or maybe something that you're seeing or based on your experience and what you've done?
Yeah, I mean, I think the MRHC team has done an awesome job with David Howard. Has done a great job expanding all of this and there's a lot of legislation and administration that goes into starting essentially an organization like this. So kudos to them, and happy to have supported in any small way that I may have. Just showing up at least a couple times is always good.
I know that you're always there.
Property management is still in the early stages. I think single family scattered site operations are still the early stages. And I think that as an organization and industry, we continue marching forward kind of to support the professional property manager. I think that what I hear a lot of folks say is, we're working together. All of the operators don't necessarily look at themselves as competition, but as friendlies that they can learn from. And the better that we can improve the resident experience and improve the team experience, then the better the industry gets as a whole. And, there's negative connotation in many cases about rental property management. But the funny thing is you see people at these kinds of events and these kind of conferences who, work endless hours every day to make sure that everybody moving into their property having a great experience. The properties are protected. Those who work with small individual retail investors, a lot of times that's their entire net worth that's tied up in that property. And so
100%. Their families like it.
right. And so property managers are just, trying to make sure that they can be a good fiduciary of that and protect it. And I see a lot of speed and attention coming around the industry. And I think it's going to continue to grow. I think technology will continue to accelerate and be able to connect the dots and grow the pie. And I'm really excited to be a part of it.
100%. What have you learned as an entrepreneur yourself, right? So you started what's the industry? It's short-term rental, right? So you've got Airbnbs. Is that what it is? So tell me, what made you start that business?
I always knew I wanted to get into real estate. I told someone this. My dad gave me a Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was like 13. He gave me the for kids version. I don't even think I've ever read the adult version. But
I think I want to read the kids version. It's probably way better.
Super simple.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of started my education journey of investing in real estate. And that was one reason I wanted to come to Second Nature. Is my thought process was I'll learn more about real estate and be able to invest and
Invoice have a
portfolio plan, if you will. Short term was exciting to me because there's a couple tax benefits that I was excited about. Short term rental loophole where you can material participate if you manage the home. There's additional tax incentives essentially, and so that was one of the big interests for me, as well as increased cash flow. But there's also a lot of creativity in short-term rental, a lot of design, aesthetic, and more of a, more experience-centric, if you will. And so that was pretty fun. So we had a couple, one of them I redid the entire backyard to be kind of a bohemian vibe with relaxing sauna in the back. And a lot of them were just kind of my pet projects that I was excited about. If I were to hang out in the backyard, I was like, I want a sauna. I got a wild hair on the last one. We kind of did a crazy mural painting everywhere, hired a local artist in Durham to do a full mural throughout every room.
Yeah, I followed you and some of your posts that went onto your website, looked at some of your properties. You have good photography of your properties. I think it's really neat. You really do emphasize that. And then you also integrated, I think I read something about also somehow integrating that with a work from home environment, right? Or was there something intertwined with that?
Yeah, so if everyone just has an office space and specifically, again, I travel a lot for work. And at one point in my career, I was in hotels or Airbnbs for 7 to 14 days at a time. And so as COVID hit and everything like that happened, everything went work from home. I just found it super important to have a space.
Hard up. Sounds like
and specifically sit down and work. It's just easy. Again, convenience for the person that's a digital nomad who is be moving around. Yeah.
But I think there are so many people that have that lifestyle now. I know same with me. work from home and I travel at least, right now we're getting ready to be on the fall season. I'm going to be on an airplane and in a hotel every other week between now and the end of the year. I do think it really makes the difference when you're away from your home. I know when I travel, I try to stay on my normal schedule as if I am home, just so there's less transition, I think. And for my own mental health and sleep and all the things that lead to a healthy life. So I think that was brilliant on your part.
I have great trainers are following the same study schedule as I do in on
Right.
I would be remiss though. My wife that did all of the account management and she did all of the setup of this last house. So she took the reins for sure. We did recently hand off management to a property manager. So
Smart.
they're just running themselves now. It's fun to work with him. He's doing a great job. And we'll see what's next.
Yeah. What do you hope your lasting impact will be in the industry?
Yeah, when I think about what I hope other people say about me, I just hope they say they can always count, that you can always count on Evan, and Evan can always solve a problem.
Yeah.
Those are kind of two things that pop in my head. And if Evan can't solve a problem, then find somebody that can for you.
I'll say one thing I say about you is I think you're brave because you're vulnerable and you show vulnerability. And some of your posts have hit my heart on LinkedIn where I'm like, man, he just said that. And I think that. And boy, he just gave me a platform where I can add, right? Or like ask questions or maybe I can help if it's something. And you always get a lot of interaction. And I think it's because of vulnerability. Thank you for some of those inspiring things. And I think your audience online or your friends, your connections, probably feel the exact same way. That's why they interact with your content. So if you're not following Evan on LinkedIn, you do need to, because he really will put out some really thought-provoking content sometimes and questions. And it makes you kind of stop in your tracks and be like, he's got a point. Or like, boy, I never thought about that. So thank you for that.
You bet.
Tell me about a risk that you've taken that's really paid off.
Coming to second nature, we at the time had barely started into property management, and I was doing well. I took a probably 50% pay cut to come, and I had a bunch of friends as I was interviewing that were in software sales that just said, hey, what you talk about filters? And I said the same thing. But I remember I talked with Thad and he gave me kind of the 5 to 10 year vision. And I don't think there's anything else in my life that I'd rather be doing. I work with some of my best friends. I get to always be solving new and exciting problems and really moving the industry forward from a place of like generosity and compassion for the problems that these people see, and hopefully make a little bit of an impact on it.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, 5 years in, looking up, and everything Thad said to me on the phone that day when he interviewed me has come to fruition. And so building this platform where, we can essentially make a really easy, unskippable experience for a resident so they can create their own, like choose your own adventure for the lease.
Yeah.
But really make it a convenient experience so that problems are solved and pain points are removed. And there'll be fun for products, and there'll be this product and that product. And everyone on the team, there's, 10, 15 of us that have been there 5 to 10 years now.
Yeah, and it takes the Herculean efforts at the beginning of a handful to really get something off the ground and running. And now you guys have built this amazing organization where more people, I keep seeing new faces, right? This with the purple jackets on. And I'm like, look at new faces, look at new faces. There's something really rewarding about that. If you had to describe your career journey in one word, what would it be and why? Or just what would it be even?
Immaculate. I think the last 8 years with Second Nature they've been ups, downs, roller coasters like everybody says. But for the past 3 to 4 years, I've multiple times a year either looked at my wife or good friends at the company or mentors that I have, sales coaches, anything like that, who would ask me the question, what do you want to do next? Or what do you want to do more than this? Or is this everything? I'm like, I cannot think of anything else I would rather.
I'd rather be.
I get to work until midnight with people I love. I get to and I have fun doing it. It's not, because
It's not job for you. It's a lifestyle.
I get to travel, I get to have fun, we get to throw fun parties.
Yeah.
It comes with
You actually feel some of us.
exactly. We're reading out Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I read a Harry Potter book in one night. My vet's gonna read.
So if you're going to be at the NARPM annual conference, just know that Second Nature is renting out Harry Potter World. And so look forward to that. I'm gonna be there. I'll tell you right now. Everezi Media is gonna be there, and so look forward to seeing some more footage from the Harry Potter World. Thank you to Second Nature. Thank you, Evan Howard, for being on this show. I really appreciate you being an OG in the space, and there's nothing else I'd rather either do. I would rather do either than to be in this industry, in this space, but like people like yourself. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.